Hello and welcome to a very different style of video. I've had some requests to do some more lucid dreaming content, and whilst I figure out what I want to exactly do, I thought I'd cover this lucid dreaming iceberg I found on Reddit by Dr. Foxy. I'll provide a screenshot and a link to the original post if you want to go check it out. Now, if you don't know what an iceberg format is, then it's essentially a style of video covering the most well-known elements of a topic at the top, and then the more obscure elements near the bottom. Also, if you're new here, then my name is Suit, and I upload every Monday and Friday, and bigger project videos like this one are thrown in every now and again. I mostly post gaming, but I like to post and talk about anything that really interests me. I'd appreciate a sub and a comment recommending any other topics you want me to cover, and also for the majority of this video it will be background gameplay of Alien Isolation with the occasional image thrown up to make sure your brains are nice and engaged. So without further ado, let's begin. Oh, actually before we begin, I'm going to try and make this more interesting by stating the facts and then kind of trying to add my own experience where applicable. So, let's begin. Layer 1. What is lucid dreaming? This isn't on the iceberg, but some people may be watching this and they don't know what lucid dreaming is, so I thought I'd explain. Lucid dreaming is essentially when you are in a dream and you realise you are dreaming. Now, of course, this is a bit easier said than done, but through practice, it is achievable. Now, a lot of people think lucid dreaming means controlling your dreams, but lucid dreaming and dream control are actually two whole separate skills that both require a lot of practice, but these will be touched on later in the video. Some people also think lucid dreaming is fake, like some people don't think it's possible, either because people don't think it's possible to control your dreams, or people don't dream at all, but you all dream, even people who think they don't, you just don't remember your dreams. Wild. Wild or wake-initiated lucid dreaming is a technique often used when first going to bed. Oftentimes wake back to bed, or WBTB, is a more reliable method as you wake up and go back to sleep. Oftentimes it is tricky to enter a lucid dream when first going to bed. Wild takes advantage of the hypnagogic state, which is the state you enter when your body is falling asleep. Often side effects are auditory and possible visual hallucinations, as well as strange sensations across your body. The method aims to keep the mind active while the rest of the body goes to sleep. Now, wild is very often paired with wake back to bed, and I have experience in this. Many people advise to keep the brain busy by not sleeping in your default position or by having your arm raised and perpendicular to the bed and body. To boil it down, wild consists of doing some task or action to keep your brain busy as your body falls asleep. One of the most vivid dreams I've had was whilst using this method and using a counting method, which I'll quickly explain what happened because it's quite a cool story. So essentially I woke up, went back to bed, went back to sleep, and as I was drifting to sleep I was counting in my head 1, 2, 3, 4 da 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 da. I got to about 20 and all of a sudden the darkness behind my eyelids became all consuming. Like, imagine the actual void and then make it more black. I cannot describe to you. And you know, in some theatres it shows off the sound system with like the bass. I don't know what cinema branch near me does that. I think it might be View, I can't remember, but it shows like the stitching of the seats and then it shows off the speakers and then it's just all bass, like literally all bass. So in my dream I'm counting, I can still hear the counting in my head, you know, 21, 22, 23, and I look around and it's all like I said, the blackest black, like pure void, so black I could feel it like in my body, and obviously I didn't know which way up I was, I couldn't feel anything, and I thought, you know, I was just blind and my eyes were closed. But then this bass is all surrounding and so much louder than in the cinema. I cannot describe it, but then through this black and bass I then feel myself accelerate forward almost at the speed of light, and then I in a way open my eyes and I'm in this beautiful outdoor bright field. To date, one of the trippiest and coolest experiences I've ever had lucid dreaming. Reality checks. Reality checks are the go-to way to check if you're dreaming, but reality checks don't necessarily make you lucid, it just confirms your lucidity, because you have to be aware that you're dreaming in order to, wanting to do a reality check. Now, it's not necessarily what the technique is that makes it effective, but what you tie to it. For example, a lot of people find success in the finger through the palm method, or checking their watch, or looking for changed text. That doesn't work as well for me. What I find works best for me is looking at my hands, counting my fingers. Are they different colour? Oftentimes I'll have 7 fingers and they'll be pink or yellow, and then doing that, or trying to pinch my nose and trying to breathe through it. There are more advanced techniques which I touched on in this video, basically going over my 1-year training of omnilucidity and its gravity checks, but I'll touch on that later. This is the beauty of lucid dreams, really. You can create any method, and if you put enough faith and belief in it, it will work. Filed, or finger-induced lucid dreaming was mainly popularised by this guy, and at first it seems like a really good technique, and a lot of beginners find a lot of success with it. But it's not necessarily because of the finger aspect of it, but I'll touch on that on a later entry. Pun not intended. What this technique consists of is, as you're falling asleep, very subtly move your finger like playing a keyboard or a piano, just your pointer and middle finger, in a subtle enough way that you don't actually move it, but it's something for your brain to focus on. Something for your brain to focus on. That sounds a little familiar. Mild or mnemonic induced lucid dreams, or induction of lucid dreams rather, is a very good technique when it's done properly, and it's by far one of the most popular and successful. I'll touch on this a bit later, but a lot of people assume that this technique is simply repeating a mantra like "tonight I will lucid dream, tonight I'll remember my dreams," that sort of thing, when actually it is not the case at all. Well, it is a bit. Let me explain. So, mnemonic means memory aid, right? This is important to note because mild works based off your prosthetic memory, which is essentially the if-then type of memory, remembering to do future tasks. For example, you need to empty the dishwasher later today, so when I see a dishwasher, I'll remind myself to empty my one at home. If I see a yellow car, I'll do a reality check, that sort of thing. Good example with me is conversations. 9 times out of 10, all my conversations in dreams make no sense, and if I stray off or go off script, everyone acts super weird around me and stiff, like I'm ruining a show. So when I am talking to people, I try to think, okay, if this doesn't make sense, or if I stray off topic and they act weird, I must be dreaming. Another example could be interiors. I think that's a dream sign a lot of people share. So, why is my wall purple? Oh, it's because I must be dreaming. To boil it down, it's to look for cues or dream signs in this case, and if they pop up, do a reality check. You can pause the video and read this guy's post if you want. It does a bit of a better step-by-step guide, or you can literally just look up mild lucid dreaming and it should be the first result that pops up. Dream journal. A dream journal is, well, a dream journal. Popularised by Shark Boy and Lava Girl, this is a crucial piece to lucid dreaming as it improves dream recall, which is your ability to remember your dreams. What your dream journal is doesn't really matter. It could be an app, it could be a physical book, it could be anything. I personally use Lucid Dash as it allows you to really fill in the details, and it kind of makes it fun to write stuff down as it tells you your word count, how long it took you to write, daily streaks. It's just a little bit more interesting. Overall, Dream Journal is a must-do when it comes to lucid dreaming. Layer 2. Filed is just a wild anchor. Filed was mentioned earlier, and I also mentioned earlier that it really isn't its own technique. You'll remember me saying that Wild's main aspect is keeping your brain busy during hypnagogic state, and that's achieved by focusing on something. And what does Filed do? Makes you focus on the movement of your fingers. Now, this isn't meant to discredit the technique. If it works, but technically speaking, this is not its own technique. ADA. ADA, or all-day awareness, is like a constant reality check, and it's the main technique I use by using gravity reality checks. In my dreams, I've noticed that my gravity is usually fine, like nothing feels off unless I'm running, but I never feel pressure on the bottom of my foot, ever. So throughout the day, I'm really paying attention to the bottom of my foot and if I can feel something or if it feels right. But it's not specifically to do with that feeling, you know, sometimes in dreams I do feel pressure on the bottom of my foot. But the main thing with this reality check is that I'm looking out for other stuff, right? So say I'm in a dream, I'm walking in the forest. Oh, my gravity, it's feeling alright actually. Oh, hang on, that tree looks weird. Or, oh, I must be dreaming. It's not just the gravity that you're checking, it's that actual awareness of where you are. Again, if you want more details, check out my 1 year video. Now, it is a little misleading because it won't be a consistent all-day awareness, and I am far from doing it all day, but I'd say out of the 12 hours in the day, I'm usually aware of my gravity for 3 to 5 hours of that day. This technique is quite advanced and early on very taxing. The idea is to do it to a point where it becomes subconscious so that it carries over to your dreams. And this definitely works. Again, if you want the long version, check out my other video. But my dream recall, vividness, length and lucidity and dream control have shot up since I started this technique. If you have the determination, I'd recommend having a look into it. Other all-day awareness methods include paying attention to your breathing all day, counting your blinking, pay attention to shadows, that sort of thing. If you want a more detailed guide on gravity, then I can make a video on it, but of course it's not my original technique, and I do give credit in that 1 year video. But yeah, if you want to kind of know the full process on what I've done to get back into it, then please let me know and I'd be happy to make that video. Mild isn't just repeating a mantra. As mentioned earlier, a big misconception is that mild is just repeating a mantra, but it is not. Actually, funny story, I used this method properly, imagining scenarios where I would become lucid like that Reddit post mentioned, and I had a lucid dream, so it definitely does work when combined with wake back to bed. But yeah, the majority of the information was mentioned in the previous tier, but it's not as simple as repeating a word in your head. Vialed. Vialed, or visually incubated lucid dreaming, is a method some of you might be doing accidentally. I kind of do it, but not to the degree for lucid dreaming. It's more daydreaming or visualization. This chap lays it out here. As they say, it is as simple as just imagining your dream scene. Now, I think this would be a better pairing with mild and imagining becoming lucid in the dream scene rather than just imagining the dream scene. But overall, this seems like a fun method that you can just try out every single night. Again, if you want more information, look up Vialed and it should be the first result on Reddit. Actually, for most of these, if you just look up Vialed or the next entry and then lucid dreaming, the first Reddit post is usually where I've gotten most of my information from. SSILed. Again, if you look up SSILed, the first Reddit post is a good read. Sensory induced lucid dreaming, I don't know what the other S stands for. It's kind of a hybrid technique of wild and dialed, or dream-induced lucid dreaming. The core of SSILed is going through a cycle. You do the cycle 4 to 6 times, and each section is 30 seconds. So first you focus on your sight, which I'll touch on in a bit. Next is your hearing, and finally is your touch. The idea is you do these cycles and then you try to go to sleep. So a lot of people will lie in a position they don't usually fall asleep on. For example, for me it would be lying on my back. I've tried, I cannot go to sleep lying on my back, and I'll just go through that cycle and then go to sleep. I have a little bit of experience with this, and combined with wake back to bed, it does work. Now, I don't use it a lot, but I did have some success in the early days. Sight is interesting because at first you'll see nothing, and that is completely normal, but eventually you'll start seeing colours and other flashing images, and those are the parts you need to focus on. Overall, a lot of people have a lot of success with this method, and I think it's a good entry point in all-day awareness training. Layer 3, Schema. Schema refers to the mental frameworks that you use for day-to-day thinking. For example, a dog would perhaps be collar, ball, bark, that sort of thing. That would be a dog schema. What's really interesting is how this ties into dreams and why a lot of dreams seem really random and feel like they're going at 1,000 miles per hour. Going back to the dog analogy, let's say the dream starts in the house and a dog is barking. Barking schema would be intruder, distress, loud, so you find an intruder in your house. Schema for intruder could be burglar, stealing, criminal, police, fight or flight, so you decide to fight the criminal or call the police, and then schemas for the police would come up and it just snowballs into this dream. Now this is a very powerful technique for dream control as it already uses this schema framework, so it isn't too taxing and much more beginner friendly, as a lot of new lucid dreamers might not be able to summon objects or teleport. For example, you want to eat some lobster in a dream. You can try and catch one yourself as it links to the ocean. Find the place that sells it. If you need money, reach into your pocket for a wallet, that sort of thing. Another example I personally use is with flying. I've always struggled with flying, always have, don't know why, it really sucks. And I usually fix this by doing a Superman pose by thrusting my fists into the air and imagining I am Superman. It's little things like that which take advantage of schemas. Overall, really, really interesting. Astral projection. Astral projection is an out-of-body method used to explore the real world. Or that's the idea of it. One of the most famous examples is in a hospital or apartment complex, some form of high-rise with a flat roof. Researchers put a number or letters on the roof and asked someone who could astral project to use the technique to read the number on the roof, and they managed to figure out the number. Now there is no actual proof of astral projection or really that study, and the fact it is usually during night time has led a lot of people to believe that astral projection is just dreaming. The CIA also famously tried to use astral projection during the infamous MKUltra experiments. I personally don't believe it's real, and I think it is an advanced form of lucid dreaming, as I have accidentally done astral projection a few times with way back to bed, but we'll touch on that later on, and yeah, that's basically astral projection. Most lucid dreaming content is fake. I think this is mainly referring to the influx of YouTube content, and I won't name and shame, but there are a lot of channels out there whose information is squiffy at best. I actually want to shout out a channel called Tiger123 who I genuinely think is the best source of lucid dreaming content, and he delivers it in a very relaxed sort of way. But a lot of lucid dreaming scripts or content seem to be AI generated and created just for clicks with no real information. Now, I'm a little torn about this, because the main beauty of lucid dreaming for me is that anything can work, right? Even Tiger123, some of the advice he's given hasn't worked, and some of the stuff he says not to do has worked, and I have done. And, you know, that's the beauty of it. We all have unique brains, and if you put enough belief into a technique, or whatever you want to use, then it will work. For example, to stabilise my dreams, I simply rub my hands together because I believe that it will work, and I put that association on it working. But for new lucid dreamers, a lot of the things these channels are saying just won't work or are extremely gimmicky. There's also a lot of people claiming very outlandish things they're able to do, and I'd say the biggest controversy with that, you know, whether something is fake or real, ties in to this next entry, Omni. Omni-lucidity is the S-class of lucid dreaming. In my mind, there are two levels of omni-lucids. One is having a lucid dream every night, and the other level is being lucid in every dream, which could be up to 4 lucid dreams a night, depending on the REM cycles. A lot of people claim to be an omni-lucid, and a lot of people believe this isn't even remotely possible. If you think that way and you think they aren't possible, then you're really boring, but I 100% believe in omni-lucidity. A lot of the time omni-lucids are natural, but I believe 100% you can train yourself to be omni-lucid. I am actually training to be an omni-lucid, and it is definitely working. Realistically, I think I'd only be able to reach the lucid every night goal, but I do not want to stop there. Like, I want to get lucid in every single dream I have. I find this state of lucidity so fascinating, and it is my goal to reach that level. Again, check out my 1-year video if you want more information, but I have been training, so to say, for about 18 months now, I'd say, and I will be obviously making a follow-up video when I hit 2 years. But yeah, I believe it's real, and I want to reach this state, and I know I'm getting close. Omni-lucidity also ties in with amazing dream control. These people can basically do everything, you know, every day at night. These people are essentially gods, being able to do anything, which is probably why a few of them are a bit arrogant. Layer 4. Time dilation. Time dilation is a phenomenon where a dream can feel a lot longer than it actually is. REM cycles are usually 20 minutes, hence the real world length of a dream is about 20 minutes at its longest. But, especially recently with my gravity training, my REM cycles / dreams feel days long. Now, we're not sure why this exactly happens, but it has something to do with false memories. A lot of the time when you encounter someone or an object or a place in a dream, it doesn't seem off to you because you encounter it and you have all of these memories. I don't recognise that person in my kitchen. Oh no, that was my neighbour who I had a conversation with yesterday. And then these memories just come flooding in. These memories can seem like scenarios, and if lined up correctly can make the dream seem days long. When I still worked at Tesco, I shit you not, I had a 3-day long dream of me going in for those 3 days. Now, in reality, I probably only dreamt a little bit of my shift, but due to the false memories, it seemed like 3 days. And I mean 3 whole days. I remember doing my whole routine, doing my whole shift, coming home, and even going to sleep in my dream, only to wake up the next day and go to work again. And the worst bit is I didn't even get paid overtime. Some people claim to be able to manipulate time dilation, and they're able to have lucid dreams for days, weeks, and someone has claimed years and decades. In fact, that person who claims they mastered time dilation had a dream journal for real life. How fucked is that? The main technique he claimed to use was to almost split his consciousness and experience 2 lucid dreams at once. But he didn't stop there, and as you can imagine, combining that technique with false memories exponentially stacks up. Tiger123 did a good video digging into this topic, so go check out this video if you want the whole story. Killing people doesn't actually hurt you. There is a claim that every dream NPC in your dream is part of your subconscious, and that killing them kills off parts of your subconscious. If you think about this for even 2 seconds, you'd know that this is all complete horseradish. Also, a side note, a lot of people say don't tell your characters they're in a dream, they'll freak out and bad stuff will happen. This is also bullshit. Again, lucid dreaming works off your expectations, so if you believe something bad will happen, then guess what? It will. I tell my dream characters they're in dreams basically every single time I'm lucid. And one of the best lucid dreams I had was actually having a full conversation with a woman in like this sauna for pretty much the whole dream, 10-15 minutes, just about how cool dreaming was and how powerful our brains are. Not much else to really say about this apart from, it's a myth. Persistent realms. There are different levels to this, but persistent realms are essentially dream worlds that remain consistent, almost like a game save. For example, people have been able to make a consistent portal room where they can travel to their other worlds, which I think is pretty cool. This also kind of ties into reality shifting, which became popular on TikTok a few years back, but that is a later entry I'll touch on. This is an advanced technique and very unique and cool. It's literally like logging into a game, but to be honest, I like the sporadic nature of lucid dreams. Like if I'm outdoors, I'll fly. If I'm indoors, I'll summon people and objects. I like to mould to the dream scene around me, so for me personally, interested in this technique, but it is very impressive and cool nonetheless. Pain in dreams. I've experience with this, kind of. Fucking hell, my chair's loud. Basically, I became Superman and I was flying around, and then I land next to this massive boulder, and without thinking about the super strength, I just punch it with all my might, and it hurt. But not in like the traditional sense, like, yeah, my hand was completely fucked, and I felt pain, but I didn't at the same time. It's really hard to describe. It's not as bad as real life, but again, it works based off expectation. I looked at my fucked up hand and associated that with pain. It all ties into expectations. Some claims to feel very bad pain in dreams, but as long as you treat your dreams like a video game and have that association of, you can't feel pain in a game, then you're all good. Layer 5. Brute forcing feelings. Not gonna lie, I couldn't find anything relating to this, but I'll mention that a lot of the time negative emotions are heightened in our dreams. By brute forcing feelings, I assume that's internal feelings and maybe external as well. Not too sure on this one. Reality shifting. Reality shifting, as far as I could find, is shifting between places in lucid dreams, a bit like teleporting, but a bit more advanced. To me, this seems like creating a whole new world around you rather than just teleporting to a different location in the current dream. I've done this a few times and it has a cool effect. My whole environment is completely black, but like in a game, stuff kind of fades in, textures start to load in, that sort of thing. It is pretty cool. That's as much as I can find in relation to this, as it's pretty self-explanatory. Sleep paralysis hallucinations are controllable. Sleep paralysis is often tied in with lucid dreaming. In lucid dreaming, your brain is a little more active and your body is asleep. In sleep paralysis, your mind is active, but your body isn't fully asleep. When you're asleep, your body releases a chemical to stop it moving and acting out your dreams. Sleep paralysis often happens when you're awake, but the chemical is still present. If you have sleep paralysis, the best thing to do is simply close your eyes and you'll more than likely enter a lucid dream. Now, in terms of controlling the actual hallucinations, it is sort of possible. Hallucinations don't cause the fear causes the hallucinations. So if you have the correct expectation, you can have much more friendly hallucinations, so to speak. And sleep paralysis is one of the easiest ways to phase into a lucid dream. But in terms of actually puppeting the hallucinations, through my research, I can't find much proof of that being possible. Layer 6. Astral projection is just a dream. I touched on this earlier, but myself and many others believe that astral projection is simply another form of lucid dreaming. And it makes sense, as astral projection happens during sleep and whilst you're dreaming. It is, in my opinion, that, again, through people's expectations, their dream worlds are very detailed and realistic, and in their mind they aren't dreaming, but they are having an out-of-body experience and are still in the real world. If you want to believe it's real, that's obviously fine, but for me personally, I believe that it's just lucid dreaming. Some reality checks can fail. As it says, some can fail, and I can attest to this. I had a dream once where it was an incredibly, to date, the most vivid false awakening I've ever had in my life. Everything was like how I had left it before I went to bed. And I walk downstairs and I can just sense something's off, like everything's almost a bit too perfect. I look at my hands, do the finger through the palm method, doesn't work. Do the nose pinch, doesn't work. I attempt those a bunch more times, still doesn't work. I'm very good at summoning people, and my method is to have a conversation with that person, turn around, and they're usually there. So I tried having a conversation with my girlfriend, turned around, she wasn't there. My gravity felt absolutely fine, and throughout this whole time I was just questioning, this can't be right. So I decide to go and put my shoes on to go for a walk. I call up to my brother and he responds, to me saying I'm heading out. It was just such a weird experience, and I exit the house and the only thing that was off was this trail that I go down was a lot closer to our house. Start walking down that, and then just as I'm thinking, oh shit, no, I actually am dreaming, I wake up. But yeah, to date, the most realistic dream I've ever had, even more than the Tesco one. It is definitely a weird feeling, which is why you need to have several reality checks and why you need to remain diligent even as reality checks fail. Because again, you are putting your faith and belief into that reality check. If you don't put any faith or belief, it won't work. Layer 7. Deleting memories. This ties in with the whole killing dream characters bit I mentioned earlier. Since dreams happen in the subconscious mind, it is believed through lucid dreaming that you can explore your memories and alter events or delete certain events to rewrite your memories. This is, of course, complete rubbish. It is a very cool concept, truth be told, and I think it would make a good, TV series, movie, book, whatever. And I think lucid dreaming and revisiting memories does have benefits. But no, you cannot make yourself have amnesia through lucid dreams. Creating new senses. This is a very interesting concept, and I kind of have some experience in this. Tiger123 mentioned in another video that he turned himself into water and somehow managed to feel everything that water could feel. He couldn't really put it into words, of course. I've had a dream where I was experiencing all my senses in a dream in like this fallout bunker. I was just kind of walking through one, and I was also experiencing all of my senses as I lied in bed, creating this double sensory experience. Safe to say, in an environment where you can do just about anything, experiencing new senses isn't that far-fetched. Seeing new colours. Once again, the GOAT, Tiger123, has mentioned this, and again, I sort of have experience in this as well, which I'll go on about in a bit. Now, creating new colours is theoretically impossible, but again, in a dream environment where you can do anything, this isn't impossible. I had a dream once, and I mentioned this earlier, with Wild, but in that dream, the black I experienced was pure nothing. Like, I know the concept of nothing is impossible because you're imagining it, but this experience, honestly, like the black was so cosmically dark and far-reaching. I somehow felt it. But yeah, as mentioned earlier, one of the coolest lucid dreaming experiences I have ever had. We're on to the final layer now, layer 8. Reality shifting can be done by time dilating, memory editing, and persistent realms. Persistent realms are already existing worlds. The biggest example that people supposedly managed was Harry Potter, people claiming they spent years in Hogwarts within a night. Always rely on Harry Potter fans to obsess over the weirdest things. But theoretically, combining all of the methods mentioned means that every night you can spend decades in whatever world you want and be able to do whatever you want. Imagine being given the power of a god for a few decades, every night, being able to literally do anything. And if you have had enough, just wake up and wait until night. It is such a far-reaching concept, but with my experience and other people's experiences, I think it is 100% possible. And after I achieve omnilucidity, I do want to look into time dilation. It is both a terrifying but a very morbidly interesting concept. No way to know if actually awake. And finally, there is no way to know if we're really awake. This ties in with the simulation conspiracy theory, stating that we are all in a living simulation or some form of dream escape like the Matrix. And just think, how many times have dreams seemed lifelike, only for you to wake up? I spent 3 days working at Tesco, and I could have sworn on my life that that dream was real. That incredibly vivid false awakening where my reality checks failed. Who's to say that we aren't living in an eternal slumber? Eternal slumber. Fuck, I ruined the morbidness of that. And that'll do it for now. If you enjoyed, please check out my other content and see if it's for you. Please consider liking and subscribing as well, and leaving a comment and any suggestions. I do like iceberg format videos, to be fair. I was a big fan of Wendigoon when he first uploaded his ones. Yes, I'm going to brag that I was an early Wendigoon supporter before he got popular. And I thought, you know, since a lot of people are wanting more lucid dreaming videos, then why not make a lucid dreaming iceberg? Again, credit's going to be in the description for this original iceberg video. There are a lot of other icebergs out there relating to lucid dreaming, but this is kind of the most beginner friendly one I could find, because, you know, I've not done one before. So yeah, if you've watched until the end, or you've got this playing in the background, you know, as you're folding the dishes or ironing the fridge, then I'd really appreciate you to check out my other videos, leaving a like, comment, subscribe. It's totally free. Checking out the description with all my other content in it. If it's something you enjoy, then yeah, please consider checking out those other videos and subscribing. But with all that said, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you probably on Monday when I upload my next video. Or Friday. I don't fucking know. Whenever this releases. See you later. Go away.